All right, today we're jumping into a story that's literally unfolding as we speak. This is a briefing from a world where secrets, well, they're getting a lot harder to keep. Let's dive in.
So it all kicks off with this really simple but honestly pretty unsettling question. A man is missing. And believe me, as we're about to see, he is not just any guy.
Yeah, this is so much more than a missing person case. Think of it like the first thread you pull on a sweater, and it starts to unravel this huge tangled web connecting national security, intense political pressure, and a phenomenon that just refuses to stay in the dark anymore.
Okay, so let's get the facts straight. Here's what we actually know. On February 27th, retired Major General William McLen just disappears from his home in Albuquerque. A repairman sees him at 10 a.m. 2 hours later, his wife gets home, and he's gone. Now fast forward to today, March 28th, he's been missing for 29 days, and a full-scale FBI search, it's turned up pretty much nothing. And the scene he leaves behind, it's just weird. It's full of these strange contradictions. He leaves his phone, his glasses, all his wearables, the stuff you literally can't live without these days. But he takes his wallet, a .38 revolver, and this red backpack. And here's the kicker. He had reportedly been complaining about some kind of mental fog right before he vanished.
Okay, and this is the moment a local mystery just blows up into a huge national story. Why does the disappearance of one retired general matter so much? It's all about where he worked and what he knew.
Get this, $2.2 billion. That's how much the classified science and tech programs he was in charge of were worth. We're talking the absolute bleeding edge of American military development. I mean, this guy's entire career was basically a tour through the most secret parts of the U.S. government. He was the commander of the Air Force Research Lab at Wright-Patterson, the chief engineer for the entire GPS program, director of the Space-Based Laser Project. He had top jobs at the National Reconnaissance Office. That's the agency that runs America's spy satellites. And then, after he retires, he starts consulting for To the Stars, Tom DeLonge's UAP research group. I mean, come on, this man's life was built on secrets.
And you got to pay attention to that Wright-Patterson Air Force Base command. That is a huge deal. If you follow this stuff at all, you know that name. It's legendary. It's been ground zero for UFO lore forever, basically since the Roswell crash back in '47. That's supposedly where they took the debris. And William McLen, he was the guy running the place. Now, what makes the timing so wild is that his disappearance happens right as this crazy, unprecedented political push for disclosure is hitting its peak. You've got former President Trump ordering the Pentagon to release all its UAP records. And this is right after former President Obama just casually drops in an interview that, yeah, aliens are real. The pressure cooker is about to explode.
So how is the government officially handling all this heat? Well, they point to AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. This is the formal group supposed to be sorting through this mountain of UAP reports from the military. They're the public face of the whole operation.
But then, things get weird. Out of nowhere, with zero fanfare, on March 18th, the White House quietly registers two new domain names, alien.gov and aliens.gov. They're not active or anything, but they've been claimed.
So what's the official line on this? You're going to love this. When a reporter asks about it, the White House spokeswoman just replies, "Stay tuned." And then she actually includes an alien emoji? I mean, what? That is not your standard government PR response. It's just bizarre, and it just pours gasoline on the fire. But here's the thing. While the government is playing these weird public games, the whole concept of a secret is just falling apart. A whole new front has opened up in this information war, and it's completely outside of anyone's control.
And that brings us to what's being called Blue Leaks 2.0. The digital floodgates have just burst open. So this group, DDoS Secrets, they released this massive trove of data from Crime Stoppers, that platform where you're supposed to be able to submit anonymous tips to law enforcement. Well, here's the bombshell. Turns out those anonymous tips maybe weren't so anonymous after all.
So why do it? Why release all this data? The founder of DDoS Secrets, Emma Best, put it really bluntly. They said the data exposes what they see as this Orwellian system, one that's designed to make every single person an informant. It just goes to show you, even the systems built for secrecy are getting cracked wide open. Okay, so you have all this public chaos, right? The leaks, the weird websites, but what's going on behind closed doors? Well, it turns out that AARO, that official UAP office, was holding its own secret workshop. And the keyword here really is secret. This was an invite-only thing.
They got about 40 researchers together from government, from top universities, from the private sector. The whole point was to figure out a standard way to collect UAP data and to see if they could use AI to spot patterns. And the list of who was actually there? Nope, never published. So the public gets one story, but the real work is happening way out of sight.
And while all this political drama and data warfare is going on, people are still looking up at the sky and seeing things. The sightings haven't stopped. Take this recent report to the National UFO Reporting Center from Cottonwood, Arizona on March 17th. Just try to picture this. Someone describes a barbell-shaped object standing on end, cloaked to look like a cloud, just sitting there totally silent for a half hour.
And believe me, it is not just Arizona. As you can see, this is a global thing. We're talking glowing orbs in California, weird lights in New Mexico, objects literally coming out of the ocean near the Virgin Islands, and even these bizarre rectangles spotted over a beach in the UK. It's everywhere, and it looks different everywhere.
So it's really no surprise that all of this is just exploding in pop culture. You have a documentary, The Age of Disclosure, just shattering streaming records. You've got huge directors like Spielberg and Kosinski jumping in to make UAP films. Public curiosity is at an all-time high, which just adds even more pressure to get some real answers.
And that brings us full circle, right back to where we started. You have a missing general who knew way too much. You have a government being backed into a corner, forced to talk about its biggest secrets. And you have hacktivists blowing the lid off surveillance secrets. It all boils down to one huge final question. In this age of constant surveillance and massive data leaks, is it even possible anymore to keep a secret this big, whether that secret belongs to one person, a whole government, or the sky itself?